When I say I'm ranking every Mario game, I mean I'm ranking every single Mario game. If you want to get right into the ranking, go to this timestamp on screen. Alright, still here. Allow me to explain my criteria for the ranking and why I'm making this ranking. So I will only be ranking Mario games. I won't be including games that include Mario but are part of different series. For example, Smash Bros, Luigi's Mansion, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Captain Toad, Wario, Peach games, any other games that may include Mario but not have his name in the title. Exception for Mario Land 3 and Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. I won't be including those games since they're not really Mario games. However, at the end of the video, I do want to talk about some of these games and say where I would have put them. So the reason for this massive video is to celebrate 10 years of Game Domain. I started this channel at 13 years old all the way back in 2015 and have made over 1,000 videos in that time, and I just wanted to make a huge ranking to celebrate that. Since there's well over 100 games, I'm going to keep most descriptions for lower games brief, but for more interesting titles and higher ranked titles, I'll go more in detail. This video is already at 10,000 words, and I can't imagine how many words would be if I went in detail for every single game. And keep in mind, this is solely based on my opinion. There's no way to objectively rank all these games, and it's hard to be very consistent when I'm ranking 130 games, but I tried the best I can with this. That being said, I hope you enjoy. Number 132. Mario's Early Years, Fun with Letters, an extremely basic educational title aimed at very young children. It technically features Mario, but there's no real gameplay here. It's more of an early 90s educational product than a Mario game. Number 131, Mario's Early Years, Fun with Numbers. Same idea as Fun with Letters, just with number recognition instead. It doesn't hold up as anything beyond a teaching tool. Like, most people only even know this exists because they've seen it in weird Mario game videos. Number 130, Mario's Early Years, Preschool Fun. Finishing the Mario Early Years trilogy, this one tries to combine shapes, colors, and simple problem solving, but it's still extremely bare bones. Like, definitely not something you'd play for enjoyment, or at least one I wouldn't. I don't know about any of you, maybe you would. Number 129, Mario Teaches Typing. One of those PC Computer Lab in 1998 type games. It's functional as a typing tutor, but not something to revisit for fun. At least hearing Mario encourage your WPM is amusing. 128, Mario Teaches Typing 2. Did this game actually need a sequel? Like, think about all the great Mario games that never got a follow-up, and then look at this. Number 127, Mario is Missing. A strange attempt at an educational Mario adventure once again. While Luigi travels the world answering trivia questions to stop Bowser, it's slow and very boring, but interesting historically because it was one of Luigi's earliest starring roles. Like, who knows, maybe this inspired Luigi's Mansion. 126, Mario's Time Machine. Another educational Mario title, and I promise we're almost done with these. This one involves history. Like, the concept is decent, but the gameplay is just sluggish and confusing. Like, I love history personally, so it sucks that there's never really been an actual good game to utilize this concept in the Mario series. I personally think this game would work really well if it was like an actual good 3D Mario platformer where you go to different parts in time and different historical events. I don't think Nintendo would ever do that, but once again, it's a cool idea. 125, the infamous Hotel Mario. Most people remember this for the infamous cutscenes from the Philips CDI. The actual gameplay is mostly just closing doors. It's ironically entertaining because of how bizarre it is and how ridiculous these CDI games were. But again, this game is just so bad that it's funny. Like, I can't actually have it high on this list. 124, Mario for the Atari 2600. A very rough adaptation of Mario Bros. To early hardware. It works, but it's extremely primitive and looks pretty awful. 123, I Am a Teacher, Super Mario Sweater. A Famicom disk system program for designing sweater patterns. It's generally just a sewing pattern tool with Mario branding. Extremely niche, but I guess it's cooler than the other educational Mario games and Hotel Mario. 122, Mario Family. A Japan-only Game Boy Advance sewing machine accessory program because one Mario sewing game wasn't enough. And yes, it literally connects to a sewing machine. Like, this is obviously not made for gaming purposes, but I guess it's technically considered a game. And you know what? I think this would be more fun than playing Mario for the Atari 2600. Alright, we are done with any of the Mario educational games now. Like, now we're on to, I guess, real games, but these ones are not very good. So number 121, I have the Game & Watch games like Mario Bros, Bombs Away, Cement Factory. I'm just grouping these together. Like, they're historically important, but very, very simple LCD handhelds. Cool artifacts, but extremely limited gameplay. This is something that'd be cool to have, like, as a collector's item, but there's just no reason to play it in 2025. 120, Mario Clash. A Virtual Boy game that tries to expand the original Mario Bros formula. The red-black display makes it difficult to play for long. Not terrible conceptually because it is based on the original Mario Bros, but it's just very uncomfortable to actually play. And in 2025, I guess all 5 Mario Clash fans got maybe the best news they could ever ask for because it seems like this will be coming to Switch 2 Online. 119, Mario's Tennis on the Virtual Boy. So staying on the Virtual Boy, we have a launch title, and it's a perfectly okay tennis game buried under painful hardware. Like, it's hard to recommend this to anyone unless you're collecting it or just want to play this on the Switch too. This actually did start the Mario Tennis series to my knowledge, and if it was just on like any other console, it would be way higher. 118, Mario Party E, a weird experiment using e-reader cards on the Game Boy Advance. It's more of a card minigame pack than a real Mario Party. It's a very interesting idea, but just a very poor execution. 117, the Mario Artist series. These Nintendo 64 disc drive titles were like early versions of like Miiverse, WarioWare DIY, and Mario Maker tools. They were ahead of their time, but also extremely limited. I've also never played this. Like, I'm just going based on what I think it would be, but I've never had a Nintendo 64 disc drive. Number 116, Mario and Sonic at the Sochi 2014 Olympic Winter Games. So this is the weakest Mario and Sonic entry in my opinion. Like, the novelty just worn off at this point, and while I think there was better games after, this game was just not good. Like, is it technically worse than some of the games that are ahead of this? Like, no, I think that in terms of what you're getting here, it's better than some of the games, but the reason I have it so low is just because I barely played it. It felt like a stripped down version of what we loved about the other Mario and Sonic games. Number 115, Mario Kart Tour. So the mobile gacha Mario Kart, it has some charm and a pretty massive roster, but the monetization drags it down. Like, the gameplay itself is certainly better than some of the games higher up in this list, but I'm just putting it this low for just being a complete cash grab. Number 114, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. So this game, I don't know what I was thinking, but I got this when it came out for $50. Like, there is almost nothing new in this game. It just feels like a demo missing its full feature set. Just one of the most disappointing sports entries, and this is somehow worse than its 3DS counterpart, because at least that game has some new and interesting content. Like, if they charge like $20 for this game, that would probably still be too much. Number 113, Wrecking Crew. So this game is simple, but I just think it's simply more fun to go back to than some of these other games. It's a puzzle platformer predating Mario's modern gameplay style. It's unique for the time and interesting historically, but not really that creative of a game. And a 112, I have Wrecking Crew 98. It's basically the same game with just some puzzle battle elements. Basically just a better version of the original Wrecking Crew. 111, NES Open Tournament Golf. So despite the name, this is a Mario game. It's just a charming 8-bit golf game starring Mario and friends. It's simple and slow by today's standards because, I mean, it's an NES game, but it's definitely fun for a few rounds. Like, it's fun to go back to. 110, Mario Party Advance. So I actually really liked this game as a kid. Like, I would just play the mini games, but it's hard for me to go back to now. Like, there's like 5 mini games in this I like. The actual single player mode just is not very good. And this is made to mainly be a single player Mario Party, but the whole point of Mario Party is it's supposed to be a party. Like, it's supposed to be played with multiple people. 109, Mario Party The Top 100. So this was a great idea. However, the execution was extremely weak. The minigames are good. I mean, it's supposed to be the top 100 minigames, but the board mode is just practically non-existent, and this is basically just a far inferior version of Mario Party Superstars. Like, the reason I have this game so low is just because it's literally just minigames, and it's basically redundant now. Plus, it came out at a really bad time. Like, I forgot if the Switch was already out or if it was just about to come out. 108, Super Mario Run. So this actually has some things to like, but it's fun for short bursts, but there just isn't much depth to it at all. This runs out of steam very quickly, and this was also a $10 mobile game in 2016. That was just way too expensive also. Like, I literally think I played this for like a half hour and got bored of it. 107, Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. Another entry that just kind of exists. Like, a few fun events, but nothing memorable. I don't think I've played this more than a couple of times, hence why it's so low, but I could definitely understand if someone wants to have this a lot higher. 106, Super Mario Kart. So this game is a classic, but it is aged pretty rough. The controls are stiff, the tracks are flat, and intentionally or not, the game can feel slippery. Historically, this is one of the most important games in the series, and for some people, this game is going to be a lot higher up because of nostalgia, but as someone who didn't grow up during this time, it's just very tough for me to go back to. 105, Mario Party Island Tour. Some okay mini games, but the board designs and structure just hold it back, and this is honestly one of the most forgettable Mario Parties ever. It's not that a handheld Mario Party couldn't be fun either, because DS was fantastic, and that was basically this game's predecessor. At 104.5, since I forgot to add this in, is Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. So this is a very similar game to the original Super Mario Bros., but it's just brutally difficult, like way too much difficult to make it fun, at least in my opinion. Like, that's part of the reason why we didn't get it in the West. And I know some people love the challenge of this, but for me, it just felt kind of unfair at points. The controls were slippery, which worked against you, and I feel like it didn't really strike the balance between being difficult and being fun. And of course, it's almost the exact same art style as the original game, the same music, so it didn't really change up too much besides that. Number 104, Mario Golf, the Game Boy Color version. Solid mechanics, RPG progression, but very limited by handheld hardware. It's good if you like older handheld sports games with more of a campaign, but I've never really gotten too much into this game. Number 103, Mario Tennis, also the Game Boy Color version. So basically the same structure, just comes down to which game you like better. 102, Mario Bros. The classic arcade experience, the first actual Mario game not counting Donkey Kong, is very important historically and can still be fun in short bursts, but the gameplay loop is very repetitive, and most players today know this is more of a bonus mode in other Mario games. 101, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. So it's even really hard to call this a video game because it actually takes place in real life. Like, it could take place in your house, just in your living room, through multiple rooms, and it's a fun concept. I never really played it much. It is very straightforward, but this was a really cool idea from Nintendo, and I would like to see them do more things like this. And why I have it so low is just because it is very, very simple. Like, it is very gimmicky. You're probably not going to play this more than a couple times, but I think the idea is better than the actual execution. Number 100, Mario Maker for the 3DS. This version tried to replicate Mario Maker without the online sharing features that made the Wii U version special, and the levels are fine, but the level of real sharing completely guts what made the series work. If you just want to create levels, it's fine, but there's literally no reason to play this if you also have the Wii U version. 99, Mario Party 10. The second Mario Party to use this everyone rides in the same kart system. Basically just removes strategic movement. Boss minigames are fun, but the overall movement movie gameplay feels heavily downgraded compared to older entries. Then there were the additional modes like the Amiibo Party, and it just felt like a throw-in mode to get people to buy Amiibo, rather than an actually good extra mode. The boards here are also just so uninspired. Like, did I have fun with this game as a kid? Yeah, but I didn't play this much. Like, I think I played it the day it came out, and then I just went back to Mario Party 8. 98, Mario Party 9. So the game that started the downfall of Mario Party for a while. I like it better than 10, but it just lost so much of the charm of previous games, including 8, which I mentioned, and that was literally on the same console. There's almost no creative ideas here outside of like a few fun mini games, and it's just sad because this game could have been decent if they just didn't have the stupid kart system. 97, Mario Tennis Power Tour. Another handheld RPG style Mario sports entry. It's well made, but again, the handheld format kind of holds back the pacing. It's a good game, but it doesn't stand out among some later Mario Tennis titles. Number 96, Mario Golf Advanced Tour. Essentially the same style and strengths and weaknesses as Power Tour and the other GBA sports titles. If you like the formula, it's enjoyable, but if not, it's pretty forgettable. 95, Fortune Street. So this is a very odd game, and honestly, I didn't even know if I should put it on this list, but in all honesty, I put a game twice on this list and didn't want to redo the whole video beforehand, and I figured Fortune Street would roughly be in the spot anyway. Like, it has some Square Enix characters, it's kind of like Mario Party in a way, but I don't know, it's hard to explain. Personally, not my favorite game. 94, Mario Tennis Open. So this one's fast-paced and mechanically pretty smooth, but it just lacks the personality and content of some other games. The roster isn't all that special, and the single-player experience doesn't last very long. Feels like it needed another mode or two. 93, Mario Sports Superstars. A collection of 5 sports in one package, but none of the sports are deep or fleshed out enough. Feels more like 5 tech demos bundled together than a full game. This came out very late in the 3DS life cycle as well, and no one played this. Number 92, Puzzles & Dragons Z, Super Mario Edition. This game is honestly pretty overlooked. Even among Mario RPG fans, a lot of people don't even remember this exists. Basically, Puzzles and Dragons with Mario aesthetics layered onto it. And while it's well made, it just never fully clicked for me. Like, I'm just not really a fan of this type of game. It's not really that much of an RPG. And it's also just not really much of a Mario game. I think if you enjoy like the match-based RPG kind of style, you'll like this here, and you could get this game pretty cheap nowadays. But I do think it is the weakest Mario RPG. Like, I think what it's trying to do, it does better than Sticker Star, but I do think I enjoyed Sticker Star more than this. 91. Super Mario Land. So a lot of people might be nostalgic for this and have it higher, and while I can appreciate the game, I definitely don't hate it. I think it's a decent game. The reason I have it so low is just because it was hard for me to get into. Like, the physics are very floaty, it's hard to tell what's going on, it's a very, very simple game, and it makes sense being an early Game Boy title. I'm sure some people are going to be mad at me for this, and I could probably have it a little bit higher, but I don't know, Mario Land just never really did much for me. Number 90, Mario Party Star Rush. Tried to fix Island Tour's issues, but it just still feels flat. Some decent modes, but it's basically just a better version of Island Tour in my opinion. 89, Super Mario Party. After years of Mario Party struggling to figure out its identity, this game finally started moving back in the right direction. The problem is that it doesn't commit enough. The minigames are stronger here, and the character personalities here, the boards are a little better, but there's just a lack of content here. The boards still aren't great, even though I guess they're an improvement. And it feels like a good first step rather than a full return to Mario Party, but I still have a lot of nostalgia for this game. 88, Mario and Sonic at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. This entry definitely has more personality quality than the previous ones I mentioned, but once again, it doesn't reach the heights of some of the earlier games, and I barely play this once again, so that's why I have it so low. 87, Mario Kart Super Circuit. So this is very impressive for the hardware, and I know a lot of people hate on it. The controls do feel a little bit slippery, and the track design hasn't aged especially well, but like with Mario Party Advance, it's just a product of its time, and there's little reason to go back to it, even though it was fun when it originally came out. 86, Mario Picross. Good introduction to Picross puzzles, but as a Mario game, it doesn't really offer anything Mario specific. If you like Picross, it's enjoyable. If you don't, it's completely skippable. 85, right above Mario Picross, we have Mario Super Picross. So it's like regular Picross, but just super. It's basically just a more difficult version, just an improvement of the original. Very similar games, so that's why I have them next to each other. Number 84, Paper Mario Sticker Star. So this is a game I know a lot of people were probably wondering to see where I would put it, and I know some people actually might have this game a lot higher because there is a lot to like here. Like, it's not that this game is just super simple or anything compared to some of the games that are around it, but there's just so many objectively bad design choices, and it still baffles me how Nintendo made a very similar sequel to this game, and then a sequel of that game with a similar style. Looks great for a 3DS game and has a nice soundtrack, but that's about it. There's absolutely no story for a series that was known for having some plot to keep the players engaged and following along, and this was the successor to Super Paper Mario, which is one of my favorite games of all time. That was also widely regarded as the best story in any Mario game. Like, you could find a story in New Super Mario Bros. That's on par with this. I know you might say it's a Mario game, but it's a Paper Mario game, which is supposed to have a decent story, at least how I see it. There's just no unique characters in this besides the Kirsty, no unique environments. Battle system is completely pointless, and there's no XP. Just better off avoiding enemies. Now, for the backtracking, like, many RPGs have backtracking, but it's just so stupid and horrible here. Like, there's no thought into this. You just go back into random levels with no rhyme or reason to get the thing that you need. Like, it's literally just called the thing. Like, is there probably more reason to enjoy this game if you're into this style of game than something like some of the other games around here? Yes, but I just think it's a bad game. Number 83, the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series, specifically just the minis games. So I'm grouping these together because they're all just very similar, and these aren't bad, but once they shifted towards the mini style, the personality and charm dropped significantly. Like, they're decent puzzle games, and I guess some are a little better than others. Like, I thought Tipping Stars was fun where you could create your own levels, but they don't really change much from game to game. 82, Mario Paint. This is more of a creativity tool than a game, but it holds a special place in Nintendo history. The music composer feature alone basically became its own internet trend years later, and this is the game that really inspired a lot of what we saw in Mario Maker. Number 81, Mario Strikers Battle League. So this was a major letdown, and I know a lot of people would probably have this lower, but the gameplay itself is still fun, but the real problem is just the lack of content at launch, and limited modes make it feel shallow. Nintendo released updates later, which is why I do have it higher, but by that point the damage was done. Like, this is a game I could still play for fun. Like, it is still a good game, it's just missing a lot of what made its predecessor so special. Number 80, Mario Tennis 64. A very solid foundation for the later Mario Tennis games. It's simple but enjoyable. The only issue is that everything here has been improved on in the future entries, at least most of them, so there's not much reason to go back to it now. 79, Mario Golf 64. Same idea as Mario Tennis 64. It's good, foundational, and well designed, but overshadowed by later golf games in the series. Still fun to revisit occasionally, but not essential now that better entries exist. At number 78, we have the first Mario Party. So this came out a few years before I was born, so I never really played it much. And of course, you gotta give it a nod for its historical importance being the first game in this great series. But a lot of things haven't aged well, like the controls, minigames can be a little rough, and it's kind of just hard to go back to, at least for me. Like, maybe if you played this when it came out, it's not. But it basically laid the foundation, and then other games until like Mario Party 9 really just improved upon it. 77, Mario Golf Super Rush. So the base golfing is great, and the new fast-paced mechanics were an interesting idea, and that is why it is even this high. But outside of that, content isn't very deep, and the adventure mode feels really weak. It's another sports title with good gameplay, but lacking substance. And obviously, the gameplay is a big part of it, but there's a lot more to the sports games, just to add personality, just to add replay value, and I feel like Super Rush doesn't really have it. Number 76, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. So it is a very good traditional Mario Golf game that still holds up decently. GameCube charm is very strong here, and the shot mechanics feel satisfying. And this is kind of similar to Super Rush for me. Like, I think this is a better game marginally, but they're both golf games. Like, you'll probably have a good time with either one. It just comes down to which game you prefer. Number 75, Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. So this game always hurts to talk about because it had so much potential. Like, this was one of the games I was super hyped for when it was announced. It was literally a game that was bringing two of my favorite series together, and with Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario. But instead of having like a bunch of nods to both games, like have past characters come back, have unique locations, really all they did was just have plain environments, almost no story, a disappointing soundtrack compared to the rest of the games, even though I still think the soundtrack is good. Papercraft battles are clunky, the side missions like Toad hide and seek get repetitive fast, and it just feels like a very safe, toned down version of what makes Mario and Luigi special. It's not terrible, but it's just nowhere near the charm or creativity the series is known for. 74, Mario Tennis Aces. So Aces has actually had some of the best pure gameplay that the Mario Tennis series has ever seen. Mechanics are tight, the character abilities add depth, and high level matches can get really intense. But the game launched with a weak single player mode and not really a ton of content, which made the game feel bare bones for a while. Now, online play did carry this for a lot of people, but it still feels like the game just needed a little more. 73, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games 2010. This is generally considered one of the stronger entries in the Mario and Sonic Olympic lineup. Like, the events feel good to play, and there's a decent amount of personality here, especially with the Dream events, which are some of my personal favorites. However, like most of these games, this experience hinges heavily on multiplayer, and without that, it doesn't have much staying power. And while I did play some of the Mario and Sonic games, this was not the one I played the most. Number 72, I have the Mario Kart Arcade series. So the arcade versions of Mario Kart are fun novelties rather than core experiences, and they're a lot simpler. Like, there's not like the campaigns or anything, but the reason I have it this high is just because they're always so fun. I just have so many good memories associated with this, like actually going to like Chuck E. Cheese or Dave & Buster's and playing these. Like, it's just always a good time. And also the experience of actually just like pushing down on the gas pedal, steering with a wheel. Like, is this better than some of the games that have been listed lower than it? Probably not, but imagine getting to have one of these in your house. Number 71, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games 2008. The novelty of seeing Mario and Sonic together for the first time was huge at the time. Actually, fact check me in the comments if Brawl came out before this. But anyway, the minigames themselves are fun enough in short bursts, but they can get a little repetitive fairly quickly. Like, this was the first game in the series, so even though I think it was very charming, even though I think obviously the novelty didn't wear thin at this point, and it was still a little rough around the edges, I think this is a really fun game. And I know this is the DS and the Wii version, I'm just kind of putting those together here. Like, that's what I'm doing for all the Mario and Sonic games, just to be clear, but both of them have something to love about them. Number 70, Paper Mario Color Splash. So Color Splash is definitely better than Sticker Star by like a decent amount, but it carries just pretty much all the same issues. The art direction is fantastic, and the soundtrack has a really distinct ragtime personality. However, the story still feels thin, the environments are familiar instead of unique, and the battle system lacks meaningful progression. It's a big step up from what came before, but it still doesn't capture what made the early Paper Mario games special. And then going back to the battle system, it's just so repetitive. Like, having to select the card, fill it in, swipe it up, rinse and repeat, it just gets boring fast. Like, all we want is just unique characters come back, like a real story, meaningful combat, and we still haven't got that yet. Number 69, Mario Golf World Tour. So this game is really good and actually offers a good amount of content. The controls feel clean, online tournaments were fun while active, and the visuals work well for the 3DS. Like, this is one of the better Mario Golf games in my opinion. Like, all of the Mario Golf games I have in here, like, I'm not super strong in my opinion in having some higher than others. Like, a lot of these I just haven't played in a long time, and Mario Golf World Tour is one of the more recent ones I played, and I just remember having a really good time with this. 68, I have Mario Hoops 3-on-3. So this is a game I had a lot of fun with, even though it's not the best game by today's standards, and that's really what I'm doing for this list. Just games, like, did I enjoy my time playing it? Like, that's the majority of how I'm ranking these. So even though I think like Color Splash is a better made game than this, I think I had more fun just with Mario Hoops 3-on-3. It could be a little imbalanced, it's clunky, it's on the DS, but it's just a fun Mario basketball game, and I'm sad we haven't gotten a dedicated new Mario basketball game since this, but we have gotten Mario Basketball and Sports Mix. And the number you've been waiting for, 67, we have Mario Pinball Land. So right off the bat, this is a game that a lot of people just hate or just don't like, but I love Mario Pinball Land, and I just simply will not change my opinion on this. I was addicted to this game as a kid. Like, the idea of even turning Mario into a literal pinball makes for a unique game, and the physics, like, are a little weird, but there's just something about this game just traveling to the different parts of it with Pinball Mario, and it just has so much charm. This is just such a fun game. Like, I don't even know if this is on Switch Online, but if it's not, it needs to come back.
The time has come. Execute Order 66.
The Dr. Mario / Dr. Luigi series. So there's a lot of games here, and I honestly just don't know how to rank them all. Like, I just haven't played some of these. They're pretty much all the same game, just with better graphics, maybe like a different mode or something. Like, they all play almost exactly the same. And if I was ranking these individually, it would just pretty much be all of them in a row. So to save some time, I'm just putting them here. They're fun games. Like, they're reliable puzzle games. Like, it's always going to be fun for a little bit. For me, like, I like Tetris. I like the style of game in short bursts, but it's never been something that's just been that appealing, which is why I have it kind of low on the list. All right, so before I get into this section, I just just want to say, this is where the list starts to get a little more difficult. Like, this is where a lot of them I could swap placements. Especially for some of these games I didn't play that much, but I didn't feel like they deserve to be ranked lower. So for the Mario Party games, a lot of them are going to be in this area, and don't get too mad at me if I like one just better than the other. Like, I don't really have too many strong opinions on the ones before 8, like where I'm putting them here. So at 65, I have Mario Party 7. So I think it's an improvement over 6 in some areas, but still not on the level of peak GameCube Mario Party. Boards are still enjoyable, but the minigame selection is a little more mixed here. And I don't know, I just always preferred the vibe of like some of the older GameCube games. Number 64, Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix. So this is one of the most stranging and most charming Mario spin-offs. Like, it's a goofy, colorful game that doesn't take itself seriously, and we also have Waluigi as the main villain here. No, I didn't think I would like this game. Like, I'm not really into DDR type games. But I don't know why, I just really like this game. I just thought it was a fun experience worth playing. Like, it's not the most accessible game now, but if they made a sequel, like, I think I'd kind of have to play it. 63, Mario Party 3. So another great Mario Party. It introduced the dual mode, which a lot of fans love, but as the third N64 Mario Party, the formula started to repeat itself a bit here. Still a solid game, but I think I prefer 2. And with that being said, 62, Mario Party 2. So I feel like this is where the series really found its identity. Like, the board themes are more memorable, the mini games are more balanced, and the costume gimmick gives each board like a better sense of personality. It still is one of the most beloved entries in the series all these years later, and I do just prefer it to 3, not by that much. So that's why I have them neck and neck here. And staying on the topic of Mario Party, 6-1, Mario Party 4. So this was the first GameCube Mario Party, and you could really feel the leap in presentation. Like, everything is just better here. Multiplayer sessions are more fun. There's just so much more. Like, it took advantage of the GameCube by improving just pretty much every aspect of the N64 games. But this was also the start of where Nintendo was like making a Mario Party every year, which I think was a little bit too many, but this game's still really good. I feel like Mario Party 4 is kind of forgotten just because there's 3 more games on the GameCube. But without taking those into account, like, I think this is definitely better than some of them. Like, 7, I'm not the biggest fan of. I think if I grew up with that, it would be different. But I don't know. A lot of these Mario Party games, like, I'm not too set in their placements. Like, it could definitely move around. Number 60, New Super Mario Bros. 2. So this game is perfectly fine. That's why I have it high up. Like, I think all the new Super Mario Bros. Games are good. But even with that, I just don't think it left much of an impact. The coin collecting gimmick feels more like a novelty than an actual meaningful mechanic. And the level design doesn't really push any new ideas forward. Like, after playing New Super Mario Bros. DS and Wii, this game really just felt like a retread. The Impossible Pack DLC is fantastic, but the main game just didn't really stick with me as much as I would have liked. Like, if they tried out more ideas here, made the game a little more difficult, it could have been even higher. But overall, it is definitely a solid game. Like, it's a good New Super Mario Bros. Game. It's a good Mario game. It's just very safe. Number 59, Super Mario Bros. 2. This is where the Mario series took a detour, and honestly, it is a fun one, even though I do prefer the normal Mario gameplay. Like, the gameplay, instead of just pure platforming, jumping on enemies, like, you lift and throw enemies instead, and of course, you also pull vegetables out of the ground. It's a very different game, and obviously, you've heard in every single video that talks about this that it's a reskin of Doki Doki Panic. But this game introduced Shy Guys, Birdos, and a lot of other characters who are still iconic today. The level design leads more into vertical layouts and weird dreamlike worlds, which is cool. But again, I just prefer like the original Super Mario Bros. I prefer Super Mario Bros. 3. I think this is the weakest of the NES Mario games, at least the mainline Mario games, but it's still a very fun game to go back to today. Number 58, Super Mario Bros. Advance, which is basically just a remake of Super Mario Bros. 2. So unlike the other versions like Super Mario World, Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. 3, which are on the Game Boy Advance, like they feel very similar, but I feel like Super Mario Bros. 2 on the Game Boy Advance is just like a lot better. I don't know, maybe it's just nostalgia for it, but I feel like it's a big improvement. Like, obviously the brighter visuals, voice clips, presentation enhancements. It just feels like a much livelier game. It is essentially the same game at its core, but I don't know, I just like it better. Do I think it's so much better that I'm going to place it anywhere higher than just one above? No, but this is definitely the definitive way to play it. 57, Mario Power Tennis. This one is really remembered fondly for good reason. Like, the roster is strong, the courts have personality, and the power shots give the game a fun, over-the-top style. The animated character intro cutscenes are also some of the most charming in any Mario sports game. The downside is that matches can feel a little chaotic or dragged out when power shots interrupt the pace too frequently. Still, this is over one of the better Mario Tennis games, like close to the best if not the best. And this is on the Wii and the GameCube. I'm just putting into one spot since it's basically the same game with just the difference of the motion controls on the Wii. Number 56, Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games. So this is by far my favorite Mario and Sonic game. I was obsessed with this game as a kid. When I would have friends over, I would play this. I played a ton of the games in this. I played the dream events, the regular events, and I don't know what it was about this game, but it just had me hooked. I just thought that they were the most fun in the series. There also was a campaign, which I haven't played in a long time, but I do vividly remember enjoying. Like, if you're gonna play any Mario and Sonic game, this is the one I would recommend. And at number 55, I have the other Mario Advance games, specifically Super Mario World and Super Mario Bros. 3. So these are games that could be a lot higher, but the only reason I have them lower is just because they're very similar versions to the original, and while they're higher quality than a lot of the games coming up, I didn't really get to play them as much. Like, these are still great games, they're still very faithful remasters, but they are very similar to the originals. 54, Mario Party 5. So this is basically like a better version of 4 in my opinion. Like, I don't have too much else to say about it other than I just like it better than 4. I would have liked to play this game more, but since it was a GameCube game and it's a little before my time, I only got so many opportunities, but I really did love it when I did play it. It has some really underrated minigames, some underrated boards, and this was simply just another great game in the series. Number 53, Super Mario Land 2. So this is the first main series game in a while on this list. And honestly, I do really like Super Mario Land 2. I think it's a fun game. I think it took full advantage of the Game Boy hardware. It introduced us to Wario, had some great music, some great levels. But again, it was just very limited by the Game Boy's technology. Like, the physics feel a little off to me. It's pretty limited in scope, so that's why I don't have it higher. But I definitely do think it's a very good game and a very underrated one. Like, a lot of Mario fans now probably just don't even play this because it's so old. Like, this is a huge improvement over the original. 52, Mario Kart 7. So I think this is one of the weaker Mario Karts. I don't think it did too much. Like, it added the gliding, it had some nice tracks, it had some very strange characters. However, going back to the characters, like, this is one of the weakest in the series. Like, why is Waluigi not in this game? Like, I just need someone to explain that to me. Like, that alone, I should have it at last on this list, but in all seriousness, when I got Mario Kart DS, for example, when I was a kid, I played that for years. Mario Kart 7, I played it like probably for a couple months, and I don't know, I haven't went back to it since. 51, Paper Mario with the Origami King. This is an improvement over the Paper Mario games that came right before it. Like, the writing's funny, the presentation's fantastic, the world feels a little livelier, the music is great, but the battle system just doesn't do anything once again. It's repetitive, but the puzzle solving, which is the same thing basically every time, and for the third time in a row, there's no progression. Like, you shouldn't want to have to avoid fights in an RPG. Like, fights are supposed to be a big part of an RPG. It's supposed to make it fun. Why do I have any reason to go into battles here? And then the story, I guess it's better. Like, King Ali is decent, but there's just not that many memorable characters. Like, there's Bobby, but his design is literally just a normal bomb. There's a few cool locations, but after playing the Thousand Year Door remake, which came out a few years after this, like, just going back to that game, it's just sad how the series just went so downhill, and even though this is a decent game, it still misses so much of the charm. But with that being said, I do think it's a good game. I think it's a borderline top 50 game. Like, maybe I'd move it down a little bit. Like, there's going to be some inconsistencies in this list, so if I really went into another deep dive of this, it could move up or down, I'm not sure. Now at number 50, we have the game that kind of started it all. It started the main series, Super Mario Bros. So this is the foundation of the entire franchise. Like, without this game, probably 99% of this list doesn't happen. But compared to games that came after it, the movement is stiff, the level design does repeat a lot, and it's definitely aged. It is legendary, and I think it's a great game. Like, it still is a very good challenge. It still has decent controls, even though like I mentioned, it's not perfect. And I don't know, maybe it's nostalgia why I have it so high. Like, it's obviously a much simpler game than a lot of games on this list that I've ranked lower than it. But just talking about its legacy, its replay value, everything about it, that's why I have it this high. And at number 49, I have Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. So there's not really much to say about this. A few extra features, like the extra Luigi features, the slightly better graphics. Like, it's basically the same game, but just a little bit better. 48, Mario Sports Mix. Square Enix working on a Mario Sports crossover still feels unreal, but the result is a charming, chaotic game that's great with friends, and you've probably heard me say this a bunch of times, but this was one of my favorite games growing up. I played it constantly when I had friends over, and it just never seemed to get boring. There was 4 games. You had volleyball, hockey, dodgeball, and basketball. Like, 4 sports I really like. I don't think there's another time in the series where Mario plays hockey, at least not like this. And there's just like a lot of extras here. Like, it's obviously not going to be your typical sports sim. It's going to be Mario style, and it's a ton of fun, especially the tournament mode. 47, Mario Superstar Baseball. So for those of you who don't know, baseball is my favorite sport, so I obviously like this game. The chemistry system is clever, stadiums have personality, the game looks great, especially for being a GameCube game, and it strikes a nice balance between arcadey and more skill-based. I don't think this is the best Mario baseball game. I think the other one is, which I'll get to. And honestly, the only thing holding this back for me is that I really grew up with Mario Super Sluggers, so I didn't really get a chance to fully explore this game, but it's still a great game. Number 46, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. So this crossover should not work, but it really does. The tactical combat is surprisingly deep, the difficulty curve is fair. Well, for most parts, there are some difficulty spikes that definitely feel off. The story is light, and it feels more like a sequence of challenges than a big adventure. but the gameplay is strong enough to carry it. And right above Kingdom Battle, I have Sparks of Hope. So this is very similar to its predecessor. Like, it's the same style of gameplay, but with some improvements and some drawbacks. So the improvements is that the combat is better here, less restrictive. Like, instead of just being on a grid, like, you have more movement to go around. I feel like the scale of this game is just a lot bigger. But one of the main drawbacks is the weapons. Like, instead of having different weapons you can customize, like, you're kind of stuck with the same one and just upgrading that. So that kind of sucks. Like, one of the best parts of the original was customizing the weapons and having more freedom with that. And I think these games are very similar for me. I think Sparks of Hope is just a nice improvement over the original, but it's pretty marginal. Like, definitely still worth playing both these games if you're into tactical RPGs. 44, New Super Mario Bros. U. So it's polished and clean and another enjoyable 2D Mario. Definitely better than New Super Mario Bros. 2, but once again, this was the point where New Super Mario Bros. Games were already stale. Like, this came out the same year as New Super Mario Bros. 2. Like, did we really need that? Like, they couldn't have been anything different. To its credit, it's a very fun game. It's a very fun, chaotic game to play with friends. There's really not much else to say about this if you have already played the other New Super Mario Bros. Games, because it's basically just an HD version of that, which is very similar. And at 43, I have New Super Luigi, which I think is a better game. So it's the same graphics, similar platforming, very similar style, but the difference is this game is harder. And I love some of the backdrops here. Like, there's one that looks like the Van Gogh painting, and it's just really cool. Like, I wish we got a whole game of that, like a whole New Super Mario Bros. Game like that. And also, you only have 100 seconds to actually beat the levels, so it's not as easy as you would think. I think this is honestly the direction New Super Mario Bros. U should have went in, but I'm really glad we got New Super Luigi. I think it's a very slept on game. Like, a lot of people don't really talk about it. 42, I have a controversial pick here. Mario Kart 64. So for those of you who never played Mario Kart 64, you probably are like, why is this old game this high up? You didn't even grow up with this game. Why is it this high up? But this changed the Mario Kart series, and this is a game I can still play even though it's not the game I grew up with. Like, yeah, we got Super Mario Kart, which started the series, but this basically is the foundation for what we have today. So the physics are a little slippery. There is some rubber banding, but the track list is just so legendary, and there's just something about the vibe of this game. And you could get mad at me, but I'm just ranking this on how much I enjoyed each game, not necessarily the quality of each game. So that's why I have Mario Kart 64 here. Number 41, Mario Party Superstars. So this is basically a best of celebration that finally brought back classic boards and mini games with clean, modern presentation. The only downside is that it plays it very safe. Like, there's limited boards, not too much new content, but I really do love this just because it's a lot of high quality content which we get. This is pretty much what Mario Party the Top 100 was supposed to be, but obviously it's on Switch here. It's far more fleshed out. It's actually made to be more of a multiplayer game. So that just showed that that style of game wasn't bad. It was just the presentation of it, because this is really an amazing game. Like, this is one of my favorite Mario parties. Number 40, Mario and Luigi Brothership. So the newest Mario RPG and the long-awaited return to a beloved series. Brothership is the first game in the series to be released on a quote-unquote home console. It looks good, but I'm still kind of unsure about the art style. But there's no question Nintendo took advantage of the massive technological leap from the 3DS to the Switch. The game itself is fun and feels like a Mario and Luigi game, but the tutorials and difficulty just kind of make it feel like a game for little kids at points, instead of feeling like a game for everyone. Dream Team had the same issue where the tutorials held your hand like you were blindfolded. I really love this game. Like, I think it's a very good game. I can honestly have it a little bit lower. Like thinking about it more, I think maybe I would have this a little bit lower, but it's close. Like, a lot of these games I could switch or swap them. His Mario and Luigi Brothership is definitely a flawed game. Like, it does drag on for a little too long. Luigi is just kind of ruined here. Like, he plays as an AI rather than like another protagonist being played by the player. I don't know though. Like, I feel like 40 seems too high, but when I try to move it down, like, I don't know what games to put it below. 39, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, the GBA original. So I already talked about the minis games, like I grouped those together, but this was a really fun puzzle platformer hybrid that brings back a lot of the spirit of the original Donkey Kong arcade game. The level design is clever, the toy collecting mechanic gives it a unique identity. It's definitely smaller in scope compared to the bigger Mario adventures, but as a portable puzzle game, it gets the job done really well. Like, the platforming here feels good. I love the sprite work. The cutscenes here are funny, like watching them on the Game Boy Advance. This also has a lot of weird lore implications now, because obviously with Bonanza and Odyssey, we know more about Pauline, and now we know more about Pauline and her relationship to Donkey Kong. So I don't even want to get into that. 38, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, the Switch remake. So the Switch remake is very faithful, and maybe a little too faithful. The updated visuals look great, as you would expect, and the added co-op feature is a nice bonus, but the core gameplay remains almost exactly the same. Like, if you love the original, this is definitely the superior way to play it, but if you don't like the original, this version probably won't change your mind. It's a very clean, respectable remake, but just not a very transformative one. 37, Mario Kart World. So Mario Kart World is a very, very interesting game. So obviously I'm ranking this in November of 2025. You could be watching this in a few years and maybe the game is so much better, maybe there's a bunch of free updates, maybe they completely fixed all the flaws. Fun game, but a very flawed game. So this game's $80 and it's not an $80 game. There's some serious issues with rubber banding, there's issues with luck being a bigger factor than usual, there's issues with the barren open world. there's issues with the battle mode, there's issues with the intermission tracks. So again, there's just a lot of flaws here, and a lot of this can be patched out because the actual racing, like the core racing of this game, is very good. It feels just as good as any other Mario Kart game, maybe even better, but the game around it, like the world it's in, the tracks, it just lost a lot of the charm of the series. I do really hope Nintendo spends a lot of time improving this though. 36, Mario Kart DS. So a lot of people might say that this should be lower than World, and actually initially when I did make this list, I did have World one spot higher, but I switched it, and here's why. So Mario Kart DS is actually one of the most important entries in the series. Like, it was the first one to have online play. It was the first technically 3D game on a handheld console, and this is the game I grew up with. Like, it actually just turned 20 years old like a few days ago when I'm recording this, and that's kind of hard to believe. But besides all these things, the game itself is just really fun. Like, there's a very high skill ceiling in this compared to some other Mario Karts. Like, there's a lot of great tricks and shortcuts you can use. Like, this in Mario Kart, we had some of the best, I guess, competitive play in the series, and this is one of my favorite Mario Karts of all time. There's some great maps, great music. Rob was in this game for some reason. The battle mode here is maybe one of the best in the entire series. And looking back at this game, if you didn't grow up with it, you might say, well, this game just looks really old. Like, why is it so high when you have a lot more technically advanced Mario Kart games? And it's just because, to me, this feels close to what the pinnacle of Mario Kart is. It's just a fun game. Like, it has so much soul, it has so much personality. And it's something that's kind of been lost in other games, especially something like Mario Kart 7, where it just didn't hit the same. I don't know, maybe that's just nostalgia talking. 35, Super Mario 3D Land. So this is the weakest 3D Mario game in my opinion, but obviously it's 35 out of like 130 games, so I still do think very highly of it. Basically takes the 2D Mario formula and just translates it into a smaller scale 3D platformer being on the 3DS. It's straightforward, fun, and has some clever level design, but not many levels that are truly just unforgettable. The soundtrack here is also definitely on the weaker side. Like, it's mostly just remixes. Like, it doesn't have that grand orchestral sound of like the Galaxy games or 3D World, or the variety of something like Odyssey, but it still plays fine. Like, the controls are great, the levels are still fun, even though this game can be pretty easy, and there's a lot of content in here. Like, after you finish the game, then you pretty much play through the whole thing again in a different way, and that's something that didn't even need to be added. Like, this is a game that's not super accessible now because it came out something like 14 years ago, and it's only on the 3DS, so if you don't have a 3DS, there's no way to play this, so I'd love to see this ported to the Switch in HD. 34, Mario Party Jamboree. So Jamboree is the first Mario Party since the GameCube era, or the Wii era, depending on who you ask. Like, for me, you'll see my opinions on that. It really tries to be like a big Mario Party again. There's tons of mini games, large boards, lots of variety, and it just has that Mario Party feel that we really haven't seen in a while. Like, Mario Party Superstars I really love, but it's not the same vibe, if that makes sense. Like, that feels more of like a love letter to the Mario Party series. This feels like another great entry in the Mario Party series. Now, do I think this game is worth $80 with the Switch 2 improvements? No, but the base game is definitely worth it, and I really hope this sets the tone for Mario Party games coming forward. Like, I think for Switch 2, like, there's probably gonna be one within the next 1 or 2 years. Like, we're not gonna get one this year, or next year I should say, because we obviously did get the Switch 2 version of Jamboree, but if Nintendo just builds off of what we got in Jamboree, like the scale of it, the variety, like, I'm very much looking forward to the Mario Party games again, which for a long time I just wasn't looking forward to them. 33, Mario Strikers. So unlike the Mario Strikers that I mentioned before in Battle League, this is just a raw, gritty, surprisingly intense, different tone from like the cheerful Mario sports titles of the early 2000s, and even mostly what we see now. Like, Battle League kind of lost a lot of that for me. The gameplay's fast and brutal, tackles are basically body slams, each captain has their own super strike, which adds an element of risk reward since you need to time the charge while the opponent is just flying at you. And I'm not even a soccer fan. Like, this, I guess it's technically soccer, even though it's a very different version of it, but it's just such a fun game to go back and play. At number 32, we have Mario and Luigi Dream Team. So this was a fascinating turning point for the Mario and Luigi series. Like, a lot of people consider this to be the last great entry before the franchise slowly lost its identity. Like, obviously there was Paper Jam, which you heard my opinions earlier. Like, I don't think it was that great of a game. And then there was Brothership, which I actually really do like, but it definitely wasn't on the same quality of this. Instead of having more varied environments, like Pillow Island kind of just feels more streamlined, if that makes sense. Like, it's like a vacation destination with ancient lore, like these dream portals, the pillow spirits. And I actually really do like the island, but I definitely prefer something like Bean Bean Kingdom or where you are in Bowser's Inside Story. But besides that, the big innovation here isn't really the main world, it's the dream world. So Luigi's subconscious manifests into having these Luigi abilities that are just hilarious to use, like in combat and just exploring. It's really fun. Like, this is the best part of the game in my opinion. Like, the dream battles with all these hundreds of Luigis, it's just hilarious and just super satisfying. We also got a great villain here with Phantasma, who is not on the same level as like Fawful or some of the Paper Mario villains, but still a great villain, and the last time for a while where it wouldn't just be Bowser. Now, the biggest flaw that everyone is going to talk about is the tutorials, which, yes, it is the biggest flaw in the game in my opinion. Like, it really holds your hand for a while, but once you get past that, this is a really great game, and one that is far from perfect. Like, the pacing still feels a little bloated, but this is a very high quality game, and highly recommend this to any Mario fan. 31, Mario Strikers Charged, which is the Wii version of this game. So I understand that the GameCube version is more popular, or at least in terms of what people think is the better game, but for me personally, I grew up playing Mario Strikers Charged. This is the game I'm going with here. Basically just did everything the GameCube version did. Motion controls were a plus. The single player mode is notoriously difficult, and it's basically just more of what we loved from the original. So why do I have this game so high? Like, this is a Mario sports game. I have it higher than its predecessor. I have it higher than Dream Team, a bunch of Mario parties, a 3D platformer. Why do I have this so high? And the simple reason that I've said a few times in this video is this is how much I enjoyed it. There's not 32 more games that I played in the series that I found more enjoyment of from this game. Like, everything about this, just growing up with it, playing the single player mode, playing against friends, there was just something timeless about it, just something so much different than all the other Mario sports games. And it's not my favorite Mario sports game, but it's probably top 2 or 3. It just had something like just hard to quantify that makes it so much better. Like, where a lot of modern Mario sports games just have that kind of watered down feel, like it kind of feels more streamlined, like this absolutely did not. 30, Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars, the SNES version. So by watching this video, you could probably tell, and we'll tell even more as we go on, that I really love the Mario RPGs. And this is the game that started it all. So this was before my times came out, I think 6 or 7 years before I was born. And honestly, it's impressive how they started the series off so strong. Like, this was the first time there was like a real story in a Mario game. There was more unique characters. Like, it wasn't just the same characters we'd later see in just like Sticker Star or something like that. But even the way it begins is one of the best beginnings to a Mario game, especially given the context of when this came out. Like, you go to Bowser's Castle, and then he ends up not even being the main villain. Like, there's Smithy's gang. There's some fan favorites people still talk about today, like even before the remake came out, that people wanted for Smash, like Geno. Like, people were begging for him to be in Smash until he finally got a Mii Fighter skin, but not as an actual fighter. Like, people love these characters. There's some great world building. Like, there's just so many fun, like, personality rich locations. And then the music here, this is for me a top 3 soundtrack on the SNES. Like, I love the soundtrack. Unlike some games, I actually do prefer the remake of this. I just think it does a lot more with the tracks, but it's still great. And then gameplay wise, it's very simple compared to some modern RPGs. Like you can still tell it's an old school RPG, but even with that, it's far more in depth than like the last 3 Paper Mario games. But just everything about this, the time hit system, which obviously would go on be in Paper Mario and Mario and Luigi, the unique special moves, the villains often just saying things during battle to like raise the stakes or to make it more personal. Like, I just love this game. Like, I think if I did grow up with this, I think it would be higher, because my experience with the original is a lot more limited than the remake, and I think there's definitely flaws here. Like, this is a game I probably wouldn't go back to now that I have the remake, and this is one I'd recommend if you haven't already played it. Like, I'd say play the Switch remake, so that's why it's going to be a little lower. But in terms of pure game quality, like, if I would try to rank this list objectively and not solely based on my own very nostalgic personal opinion, I think this would definitely be a lot higher. 29, Super Mario Wonder. So this was the first time in well over a decade, like 15 years, something like that 2D Mario felt new again. After 4 entries in the new Super Mario Bros. Sub-series with nearly identical art styles, sound effects, world themes, characters, Wonder breaks tradition in almost every way. The visual identity is immediately refreshing. Like, Mario and the cast have expressive animations, they move differently, the vibrant color palettes make this game pop, there's new power-ups, a new style of music, but the real star here is the Wonder Flower mechanic. Instead of just repeating traditional gimmicks, just every level contains a moment where the entire world transforms. Like, the pipes wiggle, enemies form marching armies, Mario floats through musical dreamscapes, or even shift into things you wouldn't expect. It just makes every stage feel different. Like, instead of just having your standard just run through a stage, like, this actually gives you time to just see something different. And then there's a badge system, which was really unexpected because there was absolutely nothing like this in any 2D Mario platformer before. Now, some of these aren't that important. Like, I don't think the badge system completely changes the game. Like, a lot of them just kind of make stuff slightly easier, like the ones that make you like floatier, but it adds a nice level of strategy just to get through a level. And then there's some really difficult levels, like I forgot what they're called, like the challenge levels, that can be like pretty brutal, and that's not something we've been used to seeing in 2D Mario games. So it's not quite the top tier 2D Mario for me. Like, there are games I prefer, but this is a really great game, and I'm hoping we get even more unique 2D Mario platformers going forward. 28, Super Mario RPG, the Switch remake. So there's not too much more to say that I already haven't said about the original. Like, this is a very faithful remake. Like, it's a very similar game. It doesn't try to like completely change everything. Obviously, it came out like close to 30 years later, so it's going to look much better. It's going to play much better. I really love the rearranged soundtrack here. Like, I like it better than the original. Like, it feels just fully orchestrated here compared to just like the chip tunes of the original, which are still great, but I definitely do have a preference in music in that regard. And then gameplay wise, the remake just smooths out some of of the pacing without dumbing anything down. Like there's the triple moves that add like flashy team-based supers that reward strategic party combinations. The red timing circles make attack more readable. But what's more impressive to me is how faithfully it preserved the tone. Like the humor, the charm, dialogue, just everything here doesn't feel like it's been sanitized like a lot of other Mario games have been. Like this is just the definitive version of what's already to me like a top 30 or so Mario game. And the only reason it's not higher is just because there's other games I had more fun with. Like this game is short, it definitely could have been a little longer, but I understand and respect how they didn't want to really change up the original much and give like an accurate experience of the original game on modern hardware. Number 27, Super Mario Maker. So unlike the 3DS version, which I just barely played because I think it was a redundant game, I don't think there was a purpose to it, this is one of my favorite Mario games ever. It fundamentally changed how players think about Mario. Like the ability to create your own levels with NES, SNES, New Super Mario Bros. U. It just opened the door to so much creativity and something that no other official Mario game could match. And for me, it wasn't really just playing the levels, although that was a big part of it, I'm not gonna lie. But it was just the fun of designing levels. Like I played this game every day when it came out. I've talked about this in other videos, but like my friends and I would share our courses and star each other's courses in hopes of one of them becoming a big level. And to my credit, I did get a few levels that had some pretty good success. Like I spent hours designing some levels because it was just an opportunity, a platform to be as creative as you wanted. And I think there's things that the game could have done better. Like obviously there was no slopes, there was a little bit of lack of power-ups. Could have had like a better campaign style mode, but there was just literally unlimited things you could do. There was almost 30 million levels by the time this shut down, so you literally cannot run out of content here. And there's just levels for everything. Like if you want a difficult level, like if that's what you're looking for from a Mario game, you have it here. If you're looking for a creative level, like just something with music, you have it here. If you're looking for a reference to another game you like or a recreation of another level, that's here too. Like as a traditional Mario game, it's hard to rank because it doesn't have like a curated campaign. Like when I do rank main series Mario games, I usually don't include this just because I don't know how I would rank it, but ranking it with every other Mario game, it's one of the best. And then just one spot higher is Super Mario Maker 2. So everything I've said about Mario Maker, it's the same thing here, except this has a story mode, which it's not a full Mario adventure, but offers a lot more like curated content. The game's online scene is richer too. Like, there's Endless Mode, which replaced the 100 Mario Challenge and just quickly became a skill testing gauntlet. There's multiplayer verse mode, and even though it's imperfect, did a great job turning Mario levels into like a surprisingly competitive race. Like where Mario Maker 1 felt like it was kind of testing the potential of this, I feel like Mario Maker 2 really took advantage. And also adding Mario 3D World, even though it's not really 3D, was a nice touch. Oh, and then we gotta talk about adding slopes, because I mean, Nintendo even knew having that just not in the first game was stupid. The only thing I could hope for the series going forward is that we get some sort of 3D creation, because that literally would make this one of the best Mario games ever made. If they gave like Super Mario 64 level creations, Mario Odyssey, Mario Galaxy, if they did anything like that, probably instantly top 10 on this list. 25, Mario Party DS. Alright, so if you're either older than me or younger than me, you probably heavily disagree with this. Because Mario Party DS is not the objective best Mario Party game, or close to it. Like, I think there's definitely flaws in this game. I think there's objective, better Mario Party games. Like, if I'm taking a look at each of these games, just solely based on what's in it. But for me, this was one of the games I played the most as a kid. Just like if you ask someone who's older, like if their favorite is like Mario Party 3 or one of the GameCube ones. So after Mario Party Advance, and I guess if you want to say Mario Party E, there really wasn't much expectations for a handheld Mario Party. But what Mario Party DS did, like adding its story mode, shrinking all the characters down so they can be in a garden or in a music room, it just added so much to this. Like, I love the maps in this game. I love playing through the story mode. I love doing like the minigame mode, like the one where you have to go up the stairs, whatever that was called. And then unlike Mario Party Advance, where that was meant to be like a single player campaign or a single player game, like this was meant to be a multiplayer game. Like the DS had wireless multiplayer, and I feel bad for you if you never got a chance to experience it on this game, because there were so many great like there was a lot of content here on a handheld console. There were so many great mini games here. I personally think this is also one of the best single player modes in a Mario Party. Maybe that's just me. Just try listening to this music also and tell me that you don't have any nostalgia for it if you played it. Number 24, Mario Kart 8. So this is one of the cleanest feeling racing games Nintendo has ever made. The anti-gravity sections are surprisingly good. They don't drastically change how you drive, but they open up tracks with sideway roads, wall climbs, cool architecture, and it does it all without confusing players or anything. And visually, even though this came out on the Wii U in 2014, it still looks great today. The water physics, lightings, track detail, just all still looks great. Especially courses like Dolphin Shoals, Mount Wario, Cloud Top Cruise, Electrodome. They're just some of the best design tracks in the entire series. You get to customize your tracks here. There's a great selection of characters. This game introduced 200cc. This is a really great game. Like this game I used to play online on the Wii U all the time, and it worked really well. Like there was very few issues, but it's not perfect. Like it's not my favorite Mario Kart. It is close though, but the item balance feels like a little chaotic here. Like it feels like being in first place is even more dangerous here than before. Maybe that's just how I see it. I could be wrong. And honestly, everything about this game, like there's just so few flaws. Like the drift mechanics feel good, the sense of speed, the variety. It really just comes down to personal preference because there's very few flaws in this for me. And at number 23, I have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And it's basically the same game. Like it is the same game except for the improved battle mode, which wasn't very good in the original Mario Kart 8. There's of course the new tracks with the DLC. Like after that, there's a ridiculous amount of content in this. It plays exactly the same except for the extra item that you get, and that carried over to Mario Kart World. So this is literally just a better version of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So it makes sense to just have it one spot higher. And at number 22, my favorite Mario Kart game, Mario Kart Wii. So this did a lot to change the series. Like it introduced bikes, and that completely reshaped the meta thanks to the drifting. For casual play, this led to some of the most hilarious and unpredictable races in the series. But for most competitive players, like this is their favorite game. Like even today, this game's going strong in the competitive scene. But before I get back to that, the track list is iconic, like Maple Treeway, Coconut Mall, which of course has some great music, DK Summit, Koopa Cape, Grimo Volcano, Mushroom Gorge, Wario's Gold Mine. Like these are tracks that are still fan favorites today. What sets Mario Kart Wii apart is its identity. Like it feels a lot different than other Mario Kart games. Like this definitely feels like a more skill-based game. Like there's so many glitches, tech tricks, optimizations, competitive time trials to learn. It can be a little imbalanced, it can be a little messy, but it's also one of the most fun Mario Kart games ever made. And it may not have the content or the polish of Mario Kart 8, but in terms of just racing, in terms of just having fun with this game, I just enjoyed it more. I feel like this has the best just base tracks in the game. Like obviously Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has a ton more, but I think just for the base tracks, I think this has got to be my favorite. And then the Wii Remote was also just literally the perfect controller for Mario Kart. Like just putting it in the Wii wheel, like the Joy-Con wheel is not the same. Just the Wii wheel, something about it just made this game so much more special. And anyone who's my age, I think there's a good chance you have Mario Kart Wii as your favorite. And number 21, another very controversial pick because a lot of you probably haven't played this, but I have Mario Super Sluggers. So this is a hidden gem that never gets the credit it deserves unless you're talking to a baseball fan. This built on Mario Superstar Baseball from the GameCube and it leaned fully into character chemistry, which was a mechanic where a relationship between characters affects pitching, batting, fielding performance. It gives some strategy to what's more of like an arcade baseball game. Like it's not meant to be an MLB The Show or anything like that. There's great stadiums like Peach Ice Garden, Wario City, Yoshi Park. They all have their own hazards, personality, and even day-night differences. The challenge mode lets you explore these stadiums in an adventure-like format where you recruit characters by solving mini objectives. The Wii Remote controls here feel great. Like it just feels fun to just swing the Wii Remote like a baseball bat. And yeah, we had that in Wii Sports, but that's a very simple version compared to this. If someone asks me to play Mario Super Sluggers, I'm playing Mario Super Sluggers. Like this is one of the most pure fun games there is. Like pretty much all my friends who never play any Nintendo games anymore have played Mario Super Sluggers or would play Mario Super Sluggers if given the opportunity. And it's honestly so sad we haven't gotten a new Mario baseball game since. Like we got the one on the 3DS, which wasn't even a full game. Like come on Nintendo, give us one for the Switch too. And number 20, another game that probably most people my age would agree having it here, Mario Party 8. So this is one of the more divisive entries in the series, but when you look past the early Wii era presentation, there's a legitimately strong Mario Party underneath. The visuals show their age, and the game was developed on Nintendo's GameCube engine and upscaled for Wii, so it's not the best looking game, but the gameplay foundation remains solid, and the board selection might secretly be one of the best lineups the franchise has ever had. Koopa's Tycoon Town, Bowser's Warp Orbit, there's the train, there's the Pirates Bay, whatever it's called, there's the Boo House. There's just so many great boards here. This is my favorite boards in the series. Like I can't think of another one that competes with this in my opinion. I love the mini games here. I love the story mode, and I just have so many memories of just like being at a friend's house, like staying up until 2 a.m. playing Mario Party 8. Even well past Mario Party 8 was really in its prime. Like there were times in like 2017, 2018, maybe even 2019 where friends and I would just stay up all night playing this. I played this in college with friends, even though there was already Super Mario Party out by that time. It's just a timeless game. And I'm sure if you grew up with another Mario Party game, you could probably say the same about that. And before you knock my opinion, like just think about your experience with your favorite Mario Party. Like it's probably similar for me for Mario Party 8. Number 19, New Super Mario Bros. Wii. So when this came out, the series was actually still pretty fresh. Like there was only New Super Mario Bros. DS, and obviously being a handheld title, there was a lot more they could do with it. And this was basically just a refined version. Like it introduced 4-player co-op, more expansive levels, more power-ups, smoother controls. And for the new power-ups, like I mentioned, there was the Penguin Suit, Propeller Mushroom, Ice Flower, and some of these are really fun to use. Like the Propeller Suit and the Penguin Suit are especially two of my favorites. The level design here is some of the best in the series. Like I think DS is a little better, but the multiplayer just is what made this game. I got this game when it first came out in like 2009, and my brother and I played through this like pretty much straight through. Like I don't even think we took a break. It's a game I could still go back to and just try to finish in one sitting. It also depends what you want to play. Like do you want to play like actual co-op or do you want to mess with friends? Because there's so much in this. And is it the most advanced Mario game? Is it the most difficult? Like is it the most of anything? Probably not, but I just think it's an overall really well-made game. At number 18, I have New Super Mario Bros. DS. So this was a huge moment in Nintendo history. It was like the first fresh 2D Mario platformer since Super Mario World 14 or 15 years earlier. It seems crazy to say Nintendo went that long without a new 2D Mario game. It introduced some great power-ups like the Mega Mushroom and Mini Mushroom, which I know some people don't like the Mini Mushroom, but it was fun to use. The level design is fairly simple, but it is clever, and there's secrets tucked behind hidden alternate exits, hidden pipes, underground corridors, of course, mini mushroom places. The DS's portable nature makes the pacing feel much faster and snappier, and though later entries would kind of refine the formula, it also feels like it lost a lot. Like, it feels like it tried too hard to just be sanitized. It felt like it was trying too hard to just replicate this. And then the music for this. Like, the DS obviously didn't have the most advanced sound card, but that's kind of why it just sounded so good. Like, it just gave it so much personality. You'll probably hear me say that later in the video. I've probably already said it in this video, but it's just a great sounding soundtrack, and it just gives me goosebumps every time. At number 17, I have Super Mario 3D World. So unlike a lot of these games where I just play them immediately and just love them, I did like Super Mario 3D World the first time I played it. Like, I enjoyed using the Katsu, the different power-ups. I enjoyed the music a lot, but it just didn't seem like one of my favorite Mario games. But then as I played it again, it made me think that for what this game is, it does what it's doing really well. Like, it's just supposed to be like the peak kind of 2D meets 3D Mario game. And unlike 3D Land, which I think was a good game but wasn't super memorable, 3D World's a really great game. Everything about the music, the visuals, the power-ups, the levels, like, it was just really some of the best we've seen in the series. And it's not Mario Galaxy, it's not Mario 64, I don't even think it's Mario Sunshine, but it is a really great multiplayer experience. Levels are surprisingly creative. Like, when this game seems like it's just a simple 3D Mario game, like it's like a 3D Land, there's actually a lot here. And then I also want to talk about 3D World on the Switch plus Bowser's Fury, because that's what I would have next, but I actually forgot to add it in the list when I went through this. And instead of going through this entire thing, just changing up the numbers, just to have it one spot higher, just consider it to be like 16.5 on this. So literally, it's just a better version, and then it adds in Bowser's Fury, which is basically a whole new game. Like, it's not a brand new full 3D Mario game, but it's a very fun open world adventure. Love to see us get something like that as an actual full-fledged Mario game. And at number 16, I have the aforementioned Super Mario Sunshine. So this is a very controversial game. Like, some people love this, some people absolutely hate it. Some people would have this at like number 130 or something like that. Okay, maybe not that extreme, but some people would have this very low on this list. And I understand why. It doesn't have the diversity of some other Mario games. Like, you're only going to be at like beach themed levels because you're on a tropical island. The platforming can feel a little bit clunky, like especially when you don't have FLUDD in those levels. Like, it doesn't feel right sometimes. There are some just weird levels, like there's like the pachinko level. There's the one where you're in the river and like you're trying to guide yourself across it. Like, there definitely are quirks here. There's some glitches, but it's another open 3D Mario. Like, it's not Mario 64 in my opinion. I don't think it's as good, but it follows that same formula and is even more open. I do love the tropical vibe of this, even though some people hate that it's the only thing. And FLUDD was really fun to use. Like, this was some of the best movement we've got in a 3D Mario game. So even though a lot of people may have it lower, I really enjoyed it, which is why I have it at 16. Number 15, Super Mario Bros. 3. So we have the final NES game to make an appearance here, and it's impressive that all these years later, like 37 years later now, I believe. In fact, a lot of people consider this to be one of the greatest video games of all time. And it's not because of nostalgia either. Like, this game came out well before I was born. It was great when it came out, and it's still great now. Like, it still controls flawlessly. It still has great levels, it has great power-ups, the world map system revolutionized the structure of platformers. Suits like the Tanuki, Frog, Hammer Suit gave Mario unique abilities that felt more transformative rather than gimmicky. Each world has a personality, like the desert's quicksand, the giant world's oversized enemies, the ice world's slippery ice, pipe labyrinths, just all of it just sticks in your memory decades later. Even the airship level feels like mini boss rushes with their own tension. The controls are still fast, responsive, and precise. The difficulty here is one of the best we've seen. Like, it's not ridiculously difficult like a Super Mario Lost Levels, and it's not ridiculously easy like a New Super Mario Bros. 2. This is really just a masterclass in game design. Like, there's not been many 2D platformers in my opinion that have been better than this all time. A lot of people will have this as their favorite Mario game, and honestly, I don't even argue with them on that. Like, there's legitimate reasons to have this as someone's favorite. Number 14, Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story, and the 3DS remake. So again, like, I didn't have this in the original list. It's very difficult to make a list with 130 different things on a time crunch. Like, I had limited time to make this, to get it out for the 10th year anniversary, so sorry about that, but these would be neck and neck anyway. Like, it would just be one spot above the other, so I'll just talk about them both here. For a lot of people, this is their favorite Mario RPG. Like, they like this better than Superstar Saga, Partners in Time, A lot of people even like this better than the Thousand Year Door, and I really do love it. Like, being able to play as Bowser, being able to explore the overworld, having the bottom screen be Mario and Luigi inside of Bowser, it's a great concept. There are a few flaws though. Like, I think it got a little boring just playing inside of Bowser because, I mean, there's only so much they could do with that environment. I hated the minigames. I got stuck at the carrot minigame for weeks as a kid. But you look past that and you have one of the best Mario RPGs there is. The combat, both with Mario, Luigi, and Bowser, feels amazing. The locations are super unique and fun to explore, especially the Bowser ones. And the music here, like in the final, is one of the best video game tracks of all time. And then for the remake, like, it basically just has better graphics, and some people would even say it has worse graphics, but I don't know, I think it looks a little better, even though I don't mind the DS art style. No one bought this though. Like, this was one of the worst selling Mario games of all time, and it's sad because it is a good remake. It's not a bad remake, but no one was playing on the 3DS in 2019. This is also a game I have a lot of nostalgia for. It's one of the first games I ever got at launch, and this game's a classic for a reason. Just the characters in it too, like Fawful being one of the main villains here. It's always a pleasure having non-Bowser final antagonists, so do yourself a favor and play this. Number 13, Mario and Luigi Partners in Time. So another controversial pick out of like the 50 controversial picks I've had. Partners in Time is the black sheep of the Mario and Luigi original trilogy for a lot of people, but I don't think that necessarily makes it a bad thing. While other Mario and Luigi games focus more on humor and whimsy, this one leans to a more darker, more mysterious atmosphere. The Shroobs are a hostile alien race. They invade the Mushroom Kingdom's past, giving the story a sense of urgency and tension the series rarely touches. The time travel mechanic isn't just a story hook, but it's actually baked into exploration and problem solving. Baby Mario and Baby Luigi ride piggyback in their older selves, creating a 4-character party that opens up a lot of unique combat possibilities and more complex bro attacks. The soundtrack is eerie and atmospheric, contrasting the series' usual upbeat tone. Locations like the Toad Town Ruin, Shroop Castle, Gromp Volcano, Holly Jolly Village, this all carries a sense of unease that sticks with you. It is more linear than the other Mario and Luigi games, but this works in its favor. Sometimes very tightly paced and more focused, and filled with a lot of scenarios that feel distinct from the rest of the franchise. It's not a perfect game. Like, the bros attacks are different here. Like, you have the items instead of just like the points for it, and the linearity can sometimes feel a lot more limiting than the more open style of other games, but I don't know, I just love Partners in Time. At number 12, Paper Mario for the N64. The original Paper Mario kind of set the tone for what the series would become. It has that charming storybook style to it that just gave this RPG so much personality, humor, and it has a surprising amount of depth. Paper aesthetic isn't just visual either. Like, it influences puzzles, partner abilities, environmental interactions. Each chapter has its own vibe. Like, the Goomba Village introduction feels warm and welcoming, even though that this is a pretty big flaw in the game at the same time. Like, I think that the prologue goes on for too long. The toy box is bizarre. The trip to Lava Lava Island adds tropical flair, and Shy Guy's antics inject humor and chaos. The game's pacing is clean for the most part once you get past the beginning, with each chapter offering a more self-contained story that builds towards the larger quest to rescue the Star Spirits. The combat system's straightforward too, just one partner, timing-based hits, simple FP management, but it's incredibly satisfying. Badges add customization without overwhelming new players, and it creates a lot of unique builds. It feels like the most cozy Mario RPG. It's not too long, not too complex, and not too experimental. Just a wonderfully crafted adventure that still holds up beautifully today. I'd love to see a remake of this too. Number 11, Super Mario World. So this refined everything Nintendo learned from Super Mario Bros. 3 and anything before it. Like, the world's a lot more cohesive. Obviously, being on more powerful hardware, it looks a lot better, it plays a lot smoother. There's secret exits that unlock hidden paths, challenge zones, entire worlds like the special zone, and then of course the introduction of Yoshi, which changed movement and combat in meaningful ways. And also, of course, Yoshi's a fan favorite. There's more power-ups here. Like, there's the cape power-up, which is this game's token flying power-up, and just, I don't know how to really quantify it, but there's a reason why this game is widely considered to be one of the best 2D platformers of all time. Like, just the graphics of it, the music, the actual level design. There's just no flaws in this game. Like, the levels are fairly short, but they're very dense, and this is one of the most replayable games of all time. There's just so many ROM hacks of this also. Like, obviously that's not part of the official game, but it just shows how much people really love this game. Like, it's one of those games that a beginner can love, and someone who's played this game 100 times can love. It's a game that the most casual of gamers and the most hardcore of gamers can enjoy, and it really is one of my favorite Mario games of all time, and it is my favorite 2D platformer. Number 10, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga for the 3DS. So I just want to talk about this briefly because I want to talk about what's next a little more. This is a faithful remake. It plays pretty much the same, has nicer graphics obviously, but I think I still prefer the sprite work of the original. I feel like it just has more personality. And then the music, I just love the music on the Game Boy Advance original way more than the 3DS version. So with that being said, number 9, Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, the original. This is one of the most personality driven Mario games ever made. I can't talk about the sprite work enough. Like, this is still something you'll see years later. takes place in the Bean Bean Kingdom, which is one of the best places we've ever seen in a Mario game. We have some of the best characters we've seen, some of the best environments. There's great villains, there's Fawful, Gletta, so many references to other games here. Like there's a reference to Geno, there's a reference to Dr. Mario. This game is what introduced Bros attacks and the timing-based combat we see in the Mario and Luigi series. I prefer the combat in the Mario and Luigi series over the Paper Mario series, by the way. Then there's the story, which just strikes the perfect comedic balance. I think it's not a super in-depth story, but it works for what it's trying to do. And then, I know I talked about it, but the music, just on the Game Boy Advance, like the original audio, just listen to that and then listen to the 3DS version and tell me which one you like better. This was the first Mario RPG I ever played, so I have a lot of nostalgia for it, and I've played it like 3 times, but it just never gets old. Like, I truly believe this is the best Mario and Luigi game. Number 8. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. So this is the pinnacle of the traditional turn-based Paper Mario formula. It has comedic writing, emotional storytelling, and incredibly refined gameplay. The battle system improves on the N64 original with stylish commands, unique partner abilities, and a stage-based setup where the audience interacts with combat, creating dynamic moments. Each chapter is its own mini-genre, like there's Rogueport's seedy underbelly with the Piranha Mafia, there's a Glitz Pit arc which plays like a professional wrestling storyline with a rising fame and conspiracy beneath the arena. Twilight Town leans into creepy atmosphere with Riverside Station introducing puzzle-heavy dungeon crawling, and the train chapter, which that's the best in my opinion, argue with me if you think I'm wrong. Then the partners aren't forgettable. There's Vivian, Admiral Bombery, Goombella, there's Flavio or Flavio, however you want to pronounce it, for at least part of the game. The only real drawback here is accessibility. Like, the game was locked on the GameCube for 2 decades. That caused prices to go pretty high, and then unless you had an original Wii or GameCube, you couldn't play this. But you know what? That was until we got number 7. The Thousand-Year Door remake / remaster, whatever you want to call it. So this is the same exact game for the most part, but there are some key differences. The backtracking, which was a huge flaw in the original, like that was one of the few major flaws in the game, is pretty much fixed here. Like there's just faster travel options and it's just more streamlined. There's a lot more music here, like bosses have their own themes, and a lot of it's really good. And then a lot of the original songs are pretty much just reworked here. Combat didn't need to change here because it already was great. And this just looks like a better version of a game that already aged really well. And of course now the most important thing in my eyes is just the accessibility. Like a lot of people who grew up maybe on Sticker Star or Color Splash, even Origami King, just have not been able to play this. So a lot of them just didn't understand what the hype is about, but now this is a very accessible game. And for a lot of people, this was the end of the Paper Mario series. Like you'll see my thoughts on Super Paper Mario pretty soon, but this was definitely the end of the traditional Paper Mario series. And just think about all the great places in this game. Like you go from the X-Naut Fortress to something like Glitz Pit, and then there's all these unique characters. Like you go from Rockhawk to a Shadow Queen. Like what even is this game about? But it's perfect. Number 6. Super Mario 64. So this is the foundation of pretty much every 3D platformer. Mario's movement had weight, momentum, freedom that no other 3D character had at the time. And even now, few games capture the exact feeling, like long jumps, wall jumps, triple jumps. It all still feels really good, even though the controls aren't the best all these years later. Peach's Castle remains one of the greatest subworlds ever created. Like, it's not just a normal menu, but it's a playground. Like, you can do so much here. You discover secrets naturally through curiosity. There's the hidden courtyard. There's the bonus slide. There's, of course, the basement. There's just so much to do here. Then the level design, like the bomb battlefields, dire docks, tall mountain, shifting sandland, tic-tac clock. Just all these are so memorable. And I like how the game doesn't really tell you anything. Like when I first played this, I didn't know how to get to levels. I literally just jumped into a painting without even realizing it, and that's how I learned that that's how you go into worlds. This truly is a masterclass of 3D platforming, and it's even more impressive considering this was Nintendo's first 3D platformer. There's a reason people still play this all these years later. And number 5, controversial pick again, Super Mario 64 DS. This was pretty much the first video game I ever played. I got it when I was like 4 or 5, and there's not too much to say here that I didn't talk about in the original. The only difference is there's 30 more stars, and you get Luigi, Wario, and Yoshi, which I always found to be fun, even though it is kind of pointless. Like, there's a good Scott the Woz video on this. And the big flaw here, which I do have to mention, is that there's no analog stick. Like, there's only the D-pad. So I 100% understand if you want to have 64 DS lower, but for me, for nostalgia reasons, for the extra characters, which I still do think is fun, I have it right above Mario 64. Getting into the top 4, I have Super Mario Odyssey, which at times I actually have had lower than 64. And, you know, this might change. Like, this list, it took me a lot of time to go through. I think there's some picks in here that I'm still not 100% certain on. And if I really had a lot more time to go through this list, some placements would be different. and this is one that would be very close with 64. What I think I like most about this game is just Cappy. Like, this is the best movement we've ever had in a Mario game. Like, there's just so much you could do here. Throwing, bouncing, capturing, dive chaining, roll cancel vectoring. I remember watching all the YouTubers in 2017 do these challenges, and I was able to do some of them, like the impossible jump. Remember that? There's a video on this channel from 2017 where I did that 10 times in a row, and I thought that was impressive. But beyond that, just each kingdom feels alive with personality. Dudong City is one of the most unique locations we've gotten in a Mario game, and when we first saw it, like, a lot of people were talking about it. This Luncheon Kingdom, which I really like the design of. Sand Kingdom's enormous, and we're getting it in Mario Galaxy movie. And this was the first open 3D Mario game we've gotten since Sunshine, and I think it did a fantastic job. And then the captures, like who actually thought of this idea? Because it's just so fun to just see what you can and can't capture, see all the different movements. The reason I don't have it any higher is because I do prefer something like in Galaxy, like where you're playing a grander level to catch a star, because in this, you pretty much do anything and get a moon. Like, you can pretty much drop your copy of Silly Bands for the DS, and then out will just come a moon. And then also the difficulty, it's not that difficult, like, for the main campaign unless you're doing challenges. But the post-game stuff is pretty good. At number 3, Super Paper Mario. So I've had this game as my favorite game of all time before, and while it has gotten a little bit lower, and it's by no means the objective third best Mario game. Like, there's plenty of games, like Thousand Year Door is an objectively better game than Super Paper Mario, but I just enjoyed it more. There's just something about this game that has always appealed to me. Like, it's one of the boldest reinventions of the Mario series. Like, instead of traditional turn-based combat, blends RPG storytelling with real-time platforming and puzzle solving, and it creates a hybrid, like a RPG platformer like we haven't seen before in the Mario series. The story goes places Mario games rarely go. It has existential themes, interdimensional travel, and one of the most emotional villain arcs in Nintendo's catalog. Count Blick is complex, tragic, and charismatic. Characters like Oh-Chung, Smimmy, and Nastasia each bring personality and surprising depth. The 2D to 3D flipping mechanics sets up puzzles that only work in the specific gameplay style, and then the writing balances humor and heart effortlessly. One chapter has a parody of a dating sim, another chapter throws you into space, another chapter throws you into the underworld. There's just so much here to love. Like, I think it was just the vibe here, I think it was the characters and the time I played it, but it's a truly special game. I think the biggest flaw here is that the game is just too easy. Like, if they made a more difficult version of this game, it would literally be even more peak. And now we're down to the top 2, and if you've been paying attention, you probably know what they are. It's just the order that it's going to be. At number 2, Super Mario Galaxy 2. The Galaxy 2 is pure platforming brilliance. It's polished, focused, and mechanically pretty flawless. Where the original Galaxy blends atmosphere with movement, Galaxy 2 zooms in on gameplay refinement. Like, each level introduces a concept, explores it, and finishes it before it overstays its welcome. Yoshi adds fresh mobility options, from flutter jumps to the tongue swinging to light speed dashes. There's new power-ups like Cloud Mario, Rock Mario, and they're pretty fun to use. The levels are definitely more open here, and the pacing is great here. Like, you're constantly unlocking new galaxies, new mechanics, new stars. It just never slows down. Then the final World S offers some of the hardest challenges in 3D Mario with the infamous perfect run. But why do I not have Galaxy 2 here? Everything Galaxy 1 does, Galaxy 2 does just as well, pretty much. Like, the soundtrack here is another one. Like, it's one of the best soundtracks in Mario history. And honestly, some of the levels here I do like better than Mario Galaxy's levels, but I feel like Mario Galaxy just has more variety. Like, Mario Galaxy 2, like, I feel like a lot of the levels here are just more bombastic, more open, when Mario Galaxy 2 has a good mix. And then, of course, the story. Like, a lot of people don't care about the story in a Mario game, but something about Galaxy's story, like just being able to go to the library and hear Rosalina's tragic backstory, it just added more personality to the game. And with that being said, number 1, Super Mario Galaxy, my favorite Mario game of all time, my favorite game of all time. There's nothing bad I could say about this game. From the music, the hub world, the Comet Observatory, which is one of the most atmospheric hub worlds ever, the vibe of this game, like where Mario Galaxy 2, like the vibe is definitely something that was missing. Mario Galaxy just has like this kind of quiet sadness about it. Like, I know people have made videos about it. Just something about the game, it just feels so much different than like every other Mario game. It truly feels like a grander adventure than like a Galaxy 2. The platforming here is amazing. Like, this was the game that introduced the gravity mechanics where you're going around a small planetoid. So many memorable galaxies here. I guess the Guardian Galaxy, Space Junk Galaxy, Good Galaxy. I feel like where Galaxy 2 focuses on gameplay purity, Galaxy 1 creates more of an emotional journey and just has a better overall scale to it. And honestly, I consider this to be a perfect video game. I can't think of a single flaw in this game outside of maybe the tiniest of nitpicks. And that is my list. I know this was a very long video, so I do thank you for watching it if you made it all the way here without commenting and raging on this video, because I know a lot of my reasonings in this weren't based on any objective measure. You probably heard me say a lot, it's just because I enjoyed a game more, and that's because that's what I was basing this list on. It's just solely based on what games left the biggest impact on me, what I personally enjoyed playing. Because with 130 games, there's no correct list. Like, some someone's gonna say, you have this game at this list, your opinion's disqualified. And I'm not trying to tell you that any of these opinions are right. Like, no, Super Paper Mario is not the third best Mario game of all time when looking at it objectively. It's just in my experience. I also do apologize for some of the mistakes in this video. Like, I recorded a lot of this and then realized that there was either a game I missed or a game I had in just the wrong spot, like I wanted to move it. And I was in a bit of a time crunch while making this. Like, I wanted to have this out for the 10-year anniversary of Game Domain, so I tried to do the best I could here. And going back to that, if you're still here and you've been here for a while, like, thank you for watching the channel. Like, I started this when I was 13 years old, 10 years ago in 2015 now. And it's crazy to me that I've made over 1,000 videos since then. I have nearly 80,000 subscribers and I'm still doing this. Like, it's hard to imagine my life in the past 10 years without this channel because it's just been such a big part of it. Like, there's been times where I've been kind of inactive on the channel, like, especially before this year, the past couple of years, I wasn't super active. For a very long time, for most of the channel's history, I didn't talk in videos. Like, I didn't think I was just good at voiceovers and I wanted to try to make higher quality videos. But going forward, I want to keep growing Game Domain. I want to keep running this for as long as I can. I want to be more of the personality of the channel. And we're closing in on 80,000 subscribers, so hopeful we'll either reach it this year or early next year. And from there, my next goal is to reach 100,000 subscribers. Like, I really wish I locked in more during some of the years where I wasn't as active on this channel, so I could have potentially been there. But I'm fully committed to just keep Game Domain going, keep putting out content on anything Nintendo. And yeah, if you somehow watch this hour plus long video, however long it is, and you're not subscribed, be sure to subscribe, as this video took a ton of work. Big thanks to the editors working on this. Big thanks to all the supporters of the channel. This has been Domain with Game Domain. Thank you for watching.